This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would search Howdy Doody to find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. This is Uber Eats. Okay, it's not. It's an alternative to Uber Eats. Now listeners, I am recording this. A chance conversation. This is how close I was to not discovering what I discovered. My wife had something show up somewhere on the internet. I don't know where she was. And it was advertising, it was a pop-up. And it was advertising an app. And she said, "There's an app for everything." And I said, "Not for notary." So I am a registered notary. And in my 2 years as a notary, I have literally had that many paying customers. And they make about $5 a piece. And I think that's what I paid to register. So I have had in mind that if I had an Uber-like app, that allowed the app to match person that needs a notary with person certified to notarize, bing! That would be great. Just like person needs a ride, Uber driver is nearby, bing! It's called on demand. Person needs a ride, Lyft driver is nearby, bing! Someone's hungry, Uber Eats is there, bing! And on and on and on with Seamless and Grubhub and Relay. So back on point, she said, "There's an app for everything." I said, "Not for notary." And so that prompted me to go to my Android app store, which is called Play Store, and search once again for notary. I've done this periodically. In any structured frequency, I can't comment, but I've done it in the 2 years that I've been a notary. And in the 2 years I've been a notary, I have not found what I found tonight. So the obvious question is, when was this posted? I don't know. It is an app that appears to be, now listeners, please, I've only given this a couple of minutes of looking at it. They do have 2 apps, which is required. You have to have an app for people looking for notaries, and then you have to have an app, bing, by people providing the service. So it's essentially like Uber Eats. That was my wife. It's essentially like Uber and Uber Eats, different, same platform. One on the Uber drivers app, and one on the Uber app, bing! So this does have 2 apps. I'm not gonna say the name of it here in this video, but listeners, in the next 24 hours, I promise, I wish I was not a Boy Scout, but if I was, I think you do this for a Boy Scout promise. I promise I will investigate this further. I will read not only the app itself, in addition to that, I will read some popular press stuff. So if you happen to across this video, please visit my blog or keep an eye on my YouTube channel. And I'm not asking you to surf through all the bullshit I put on my YouTube channel. And I'm not asking you to surf through all the bullshit that I put on my blog. I have enough readers. I'm not trying to solicit and grow my readership. I really am. I promise. Boy Scout promise. I promise. I will call it Uber for Notaries. And so that will be the title of a future YouTube video. It'll maybe be a post in Instagram, and it will be certainly a post in my blog. So again, I will say Uber for Notaries, Uber for Notaries. And that will be the results of my additional investigation. Uber people, this is a great moment for me. So don't overlook my excitement. I'm going back to where I should have started. PAR, PAR. Tiger Woods knows this better than anyone. PAR, PAR. Problem, action, solution. So the whole content of what I just said, you can't understand why I'm excited about it without first understanding the problem. The problem is you're an Uber person, any on demand. Uber Eats, Uber driver, Lyft driver, you're doing Grubhub, you're providing services for Relay. Whatever it is, you have downtime. And when you have downtime, your mind starts going, if I could reduce my downtime, I could make more money. Well, that sounds obvious, but it's not always true. I promise you it's not always true, and I have hours and hours and hours of Uber Eats video to show that it's not true. If you minimize your downtime, you don't necessarily make more money. That's not my point. My point is the problem is when you're idle, you want to be less idle. So some people fix it by registering an Uber, registering on Lyft. That was just the transportation apps. But if you're doing food, then you register on Uber Eats, which is the same platform. Uber Eats and Uber both has Uber Driver. So you register on Uber Driver, you register on Grubhub, you register on Relay, you do and now your phone will ping you and you can take it. Well, Uber Eats knows that you're doing that, and so they try to incentivize you to stay on their platform and decline the ones from the others. I don't know what the other apps are doing. But again, the problem is when you're down, you want to tweak it so you make more money. Well, what I'm saying is that if you tweak it by doing more of what you're already doing, then that opportunity just looks like this. You go because when if you're primarily on Uber Eats and you have a preference for those, and now you're idle on Uber Eats and boom, you get a ping for Relay. I don't know how Relay works or even if that's relevant, but Grubhub or Relay or one of the others. And you go, bing, now you're off on Relay. Well, you're making zero on Uber Eats. So my point is that you might have been better off if you ignored the Relay or Grubhub, and you might have just been better off if you stayed on Uber Eats or vice versa. My point is when we're down, idle as an on-demand person, whether Lyft or Uber Eats or Uber or Relay or Grubhub, we start going crazy and think, how can I make more money? Well, I'll make more money. The Uber Eats is working. I know how to do this, so now I'm going to do Relay. It's the same thing. You might increase the amount you're going to make. I have this idea that I can make it $20 a week extra. Or maybe even reverse my earnings and would have made more if I just stayed on one platform. My point is, if you try to supplement Uber Eats with another on-demand food delivery, it's probably not going to make a big difference because you remain only one person. And I think Lyft and Uber, if you're transporting people, is mostly the same thing. You're basically giving your time to one or the other. And Uber probably has ways to try to keep you on their platform and not lose you to Lyft. So anyways, here's my point. The problem is when you're idle, you want to fix it. So if you're Uber, you're of course going to do Lyft. But there's some tricks. And Uber's playing tricks just like you're playing tricks. Relay, Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, the same thing. You're basically doing the same thing and you're going to increase your pay by that much. It is my thinking in those crazy moments as an idle on-demand service provider that if I do food and I also do something else, that's going to be a winning formula. In other words, if I do a more upscale, I'm not saying upscale, but at least with notary, you have to have not just registered on the app, but you have to go to your local courthouse and pay a fee and become registered as a notary. And you also have to know how to handle the documents and act like you're not an idiot. So there are some different qualifications. So my point is, problem is when you're idle, you start going crazy. You start trying to fix it. Some people have fixed that by doing multiple apps. I have resisted that temptation. It's an obvious answer, but I've resisted that temptation. So that's why I'm so excited about this notary. I've looked for it for 2 years now. I have periodically checked the Play Store, and if I were on iPhone, I would have checked the App Store. And tonight, by chance, I found it. I don't know if it's the right one. I do know it's what I'm looking for. I just don't know if it's the best choice. So the results of my reading will be in future videos. Ha! Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao!